Da-na-da. Corner Späti, da-na-da. Corner Späti, da-na-da. Corner Späti, da-da-da-da. Corner Späti. We're back with Josie Parkinson. That's me, host and creator and chief financier of the Corner Späti podcast. All the podcasts you get for Lodcast. Thank you very much for joining us. This is a special broadcast because I've recently been made aware of events in the quote United unquote Kingdom satire that there's a lot going down. There's a lot going down there, which is to use the technical term bollocks. So there was. I do realise that the Josie Parkinson defenders among you might be more used to me being about 3 beers down when discussing political affairs. Unfortunately, due to budget cuts, this wasn't possible on this occasion. And it's also why I'm currently recording this from the platform of S-Bahn station. Won't tell you which one. Don't want the government to find me. Yeah, under the radar. I thought I would just do a little mini announcement about that I'm going to officially come out in favour of voting on shit and firmly anti dumb, mean. Yeah, that's right. I said it. I said it was a mean stealing of people's democratic rights, you know? I just feel like it's probably better when on one of the most divisive issues in my lifetime in the United Kingdom, that maybe you want people to have a bit more of a say. Wasn't that the thing people were talking about, having a say, taking back control? Hot takes. So actually this issue was so infuriating that actually earlier this week I decided that it was time to quit Twitter because I was like, what if every joke I wrote wasn't like a garbled impression of like a Jabuki young white tweet, and then literally one glorious, peaceful day later, I was like, oh no, actually I need to be publicly angry. Whew. Oh, heavens. So back on Twitter I went, and gotta say, it feels amazing. Really does. It's really good to be able to write a message that no one's ever going to read to the Prime Minister, calling him a wanker. It's freedom. Maybe the only freedom. Only the freedom. There's probably something interesting to say there about what freedoms are. Oh man. Okay. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the episode. I'm sorry I'm not there to do a live discussion. Be good to yourselves and don't let anyone be mean to you. Okay, love you. Bye.
Welcome to your weekly Corner Späti. I very much hope that you enjoyed that special message from our Corner Späti correspondent, Josie Parkinson. Mm-hmm. To all of our Josie Parkinson defenders out there, you will be receiving your free T-shirt.
AK-47. DMT.
Everything.
TJX6 Scammers Guide, the 200-page manifesto.
Exactly. Everything that you need to defend Josie Parkinson.
Yes.
But so same lineup as last week. It's your boy Nick.
It's also Karen. I'm here. I was in Sweden. It was terrible.
Hey, what's up? It's Rob. I'm still here in the U.S.
But he's
Calling
in New
you
York.
live from New York, baby.
New York City, baby. Greatest city in the world.
When they say it's where your dreams are made of, my dream is calling into the podcast that I do with my friends that a handful of people listen to.
Aww.
Handful. We have like a decent following. You shut
I have
up.
big hands. All right.
Oh, fuck off.
It's early in the morning for Rob. He's being.
Yeah. Rob,
being
have you
cranky.
had your coffee or your tea or your kombucha?
I haven't
Sorry,
had
he-
coffee.
You drink?
He doesn't
It is
understand
early
what
for me.
He doesn't understand what we're
Um,
saying because he's in New York. Have you had your coffee?
Hey, Rob, have you had your coffee yet?
Coffee. That's Boston, isn't it?
I am a little hungover because we had pickle juice shots. Do you know about this?
Yeah, that sounds fucking pimp.
Yeah, I'd never had them before. It was actually pretty good. It was at a Ukrainian bar. Good times.
Hey, I'm at a Ukrainian bar over here.
Hey, it's me, Big Time Tonovich. Just remember, vote Poroshenko.
For those who don't know, you take the shot and then you take a small shot of pickle juice to
It's
wash
good.
it down.
Yeah,
and it
it's
like
fucking-
cleanses
it
your
is-
palate immediately.
it is-
And I
it
like
is
to think of our
fantastic.
podcast as a little shot of pickle juice.
So yeah, Europe is. I mean, the Amazon's on fire, like we said last week, but Europe's on fire in a much different sense. By the fire, I mean fascism, and it's quickly spreading, and it's cool. It's bad. So am I just gonna rant because I've been very
Yeah.
mad about this.
Yeah.
I've been mad about the no English. The only English language stuff that I found about this is like Deutsche Welle bragging about how Greece and Germany are on speaking terms again. Because like
What happened?
I don't know. Maybe a new government got elected who's
What?
like horrible, and had
Yeah.
their. Where do I start with this, Kieran? Please, please help me.
I can do.
You
I can-
sweet
I can-
angel. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm so mad about this.
I can just do simple ass background, which is we did talk about it on the podcast when it happened, but like there was an election in Greece, and now Dimokratia is now in charge.
Your
And-
pronunciation was bad, but
You're
it's
doing-
okay.
Okay. Yeah.
You're doing the Swedish voice, Kieran.
Yeah, Dr.
Literally every
Yeah.
language in Europe.
D's don't exist in Greece, you big bitch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's just thuz.
Those.
Yeah, there are actually D's. I take that back because they're N and T's put together. You want to talk about fucking Irish orthography?
Let's go.
Greek orthography is just as stupid.
Anyway, yeah, okay. So what happened in Greece? There's a new government. Don't believe the haters. They are not center right. They get along very well with the center right. But
Okay.
Nick will expand on that later. Let's
Yeah.
just get through what happened.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Okay, go off. And then
Don't believe the haters.
yeah.
They can really do all kinds of Rubik's Cubes.
So they're in charge now in the government, and they made a lot of promises to be terrifying, and
They're keeping up with it.
lo and behold, they're sticking to their promises of being.
Finally, a government that sticks to their
I
promises
know, right?
gets stuff done.
Fucking Syriza could not be terrifying.
So I guess like Syriza was this. How long were they in power for? Like 4 years, 5
From
years?
2015, yeah.
2015. So almost 4 years. Okay, and they were genuinely doing their best fucking job at like capitalism with a friendly face.
Okay, I was about to say, like, do not think that they were doing their best job at fucking leftism because
no.
every fucking Greek hates. That's why Syriza went immediately like just tanked in the polls.
Yes.
because they were like, oh, he vote. Okay, yeah, not gonna do that. Like literally 2 days
Yeah.
afterward.
So, yeah, that's basically the context. It's coming a bit to the forefront now, especially on like left-wing circles, especially ones that pay attention to Europe, which I think is us and 4 Twitter accounts. But like, I think the thing that's culminating now is the Exarchia raids, which is again something they promised to do. Like they were like, "Whoa, we're going to clean up Exarchia." About Exarchia, first of all, it is fascinating and reading up on it. It's cool and good, and you should do it. But it is a largely like kind of squatter, radical leftist space, a neighborhood within Athens that I guess the modern relevance of this would be is that, as Nick said, they are giving spaces to defend and support refugees.
And completely, up until 2 weeks ago, had no police presence.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the thing that was a big deal with Dimokratia, is that they went and said that then that Exarchia was a big deal for them, that they had to go and clear up Exarchia.
Yeah.
And that now that's become a reality.
Yes.
That wasn't just talking points, it was that they're getting help with local fascist groups. Yanis Pavoulias
All right.
has been doing a lot of good translation of Greek articles and things on the ground that have been happening in Athens
Yeah.
into English, so that then that they can become, more normalized between, the rest of Greek's a stupid language. Like, let's just be real.
Yeah.
But so there have been things of like fascist groups who have then going to the police, which has always been a thing in Greece. I can get to that in a split second. The founding of these parties, so it kind of comes into the sense of like, just showing solidarity to the mostly anarchists, communists. Like, leftism in Greece is very much alive and vibrant. I think a lot of people forget that a lot of the time because of how their government ends up looking is much different than what the general public believes.
Yeah.
Greece is very left wing. Same thing with Ireland.
Even then, there's still that like the 50 extra seats bonus system, which disproportionately gives a party that has like a plurality of the vote. It gives them majority control, which will fuck with people's
which
perceptions.
Dimokratia was going to win the day after the Olki vote. Like, there was no fucking question about that.
I'm hearing a lot of like critique of the system, but at least they're trying to make politics fun. Have a little like spice it up a bit.
Bonuses. You know what has bonuses? Games.
Games
have bonuses.
Yeah, you know what games started with? Games started in Greece.
Like that?
Yeah.
The Olympics or some shit like that. I don't know. Let's just like pretend that then Greece is Western.
Let's just get naked and touch each other.
Yeah.
Games.
Yeah. I want everything about Greece, but I want it to be like homophobic. So, hello, my name is Ben Shapiro. Welcome to my TED Talk. No, but so in all seriousness, like, how does then the situation come to where we have it now with Dimokratia openly being fascist?
Yeah.
And I think that then a lot of Westerners don't understand that the Dimokratia has always been fascist. It's just that they've been hiding it because they have like more fascist parties to the right of them, which with Golden Dawn.
Oh yeah.
With their appearance that then came up in 2012, 2013.
Golden Dawn is a party though that I think maybe the media doesn't always necessarily communicate this the best way, but like a lot of European politics like knows that they are insane. Like the far right parties of various other European countries know that they are like too far right for them.
Yeah. But Dimokratia is like definitely a happy medium for this because like we got to back up until how did this party form? Lo and behold, your boy just wrote a fucking thesis about this shit. And
nice.
I'm going to fucking lay some knowledge on you bitches about this.
Or in the original English, Desis.
Yeah, Desis. Exactly.
Desis nuts.
Desis nuts. So Dimokratia literally is just kind of like formed out of the sense like that the U.S. needed a right-wing party because Greece coming out of the Civil War was just like a country that could not hold political stability. So you had a transition from center to right-wing, but like not full right-wing, just kind of like a center right, back and forth. And the implementations of social programs never actually happened during the Marshall Plan because of this. Also because there's what I would agree is a legitimate point to be made, but some people view it as conspiratorial, that Greece had to be left outside of the periphery of the core European industrial zones. So maintaining Greece as non-industrial was then beneficial to Germany and France. Which is, in my opinion, a fair point to make, and is true if you go to Greece and you realize that there is no industry. Still to today, there's shipping, but there's no actual industry.
There's a lot of people who talk about, like, I think this kind of happened. This has happened to Portugal and Spain as well. This is the tourism trap.
Yeah,
like when you have an economy that's reliant on tourism, it is something that destroys that will just by the process of doing this destroy your industry.
Yeah, but Greece had no industry to begin with.
Fair enough.
They had like infrastructure that was built, but no actual. To be fair, Greece had a bourgeoisie that was made by the British in order to preserve a very limited industrial class. So making more industry would have brought more people into this industrial class.
Yeah.
So there's a double-sided kind of coin to this. Is that one is that you just don't industrialize the country so that you can maintain the industrialized bourgeoisie who already has power, political power and economic power. Which one's right?
Funny how that correlates.
Yeah, which one's right? I don't know, but it's still like Greece has always been this like underdeveloped country that then Europe has like always pretended is like democratic. It has never actually existed as like a democratic sort of thing within it.
But they made it. They invented
but,
it.
So they made it. They made this whole shit.
I can vote in the Eurovision because of Greece.
Exactly. Yes, Eurovision was actually the last thing of the Olympics.
Yeah.
In ancient Greece, they all sang.
So you're telling me you're telling me these kind of like, whether it's tourism economy, these kind of like non-industrial economies, is like Soylent.
Yeah, exactly.
The Imperial West is like, this is all you need to survive. Just drink this 3 times a day, you'll be good.
And
Ouzo, you're on the beach under the sun, and now you're dead from dehydration.
Yeah, and by that, in the sense of then what it means to them people who are in Greece, it means these.
You're getting no protein, is what it means.
Oh no, they have plenty of protein. You're just eating nothing but lamb and beef and pork.
Eat a whole lamb.
Yeah, and you'll be fine for 6 weeks.
Greeks have this special ability to unhinge their jaw and just swallow a lamb alive and whole, like a python.
Kieran saw me do it earlier today.
I did. It was cool.
Yeah.
My dog's gone.
But in all seriousness, what that meant that is actually kind of true in the sense of that it is like not the unhinging of the fucking jaw. But
you heard it here first.
But it like in the sense of that it does come down to the sense that now the modern sense of this acceptance of whatever this like bullshit word is has just been like finance capital for Greece. So but like, all right, so back up to the 50s, and so there's this political instability that then exists in Greece, and the U.S. is just fucking mad because Greece ends up out of a civil war where they beat the communists. That's a pretty good thing to do, even though the Kappa Kappa Epsilon, or KKE as they're known in Western countries, largest political movement in that country at the time, got defeated. I'm very sad about that still after writing my paper. And,
not because they're communists, but because they're homophobic.
I don't know, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the modern KKE is much different to the old KKE.
Yeah.
But,
old KKE, gay AF.
The old KKE, you fuck your homies. New KKE, don't you dare fucking.
International solidarity, fuck a Turk.
But so in the 50s, the U.S. There's literally just like a line of letters that are between the ambassador from the United States to then that of like the political elites. I'm like, we got to make a new party, and we want it to be like really right wing, and they make a thing called Greek Rally. Greek Rally happens to be a party that then is just made up of like Metaxists.
Ah, cool.
If you don't know what that is Greek fascism.
We covered this in our Golden Dawn episode.
We did, yeah.
Funny how this is connected.
Yeah. So you have a party that then is a Metaxas party, a weird political ideology that I should not be repeating on this damn fucking show. But that party has some general popularity. They stay in power for like 3 years and then kind of disappear. Reform, They happen to, have all the people who used to be in it come back, and they changed their name to New Democracy, or Dimokratia, as it is in Greek. And they've kind of just stayed as this just batshit insane movement since the end of the military dictatorship. By the way, Greece had one of those things. First country that the U.S. was just like willing to just throw under the bus in Europe. The only one, actually, if I can mistake, aside from Portugal.
It kind of depends, because the military dictatorship of Greece happened post World War II, whereas I think what was happening in Portugal and Spain are continuations of what was happening.
World War II, yeah. Of the first military dictatorship that then is in Europe, I'm like making like a lot of like exceptions.
There's a lot of caveats to this.
Yeah.
Either the first or the third.
But it ends up being like a lot of inspiration for how like Pinochet comes to power and stuff like that. Because a lot of those people who then ended up working in this regime just like randomly end up in South America.
It's weird, but there is like a weird kind of race politics to it. It's like swarthy kind of white European peoples. They all have to be controlled by military juntas. All this stuff that happens to Greece and what was happening already in Spain, because there's a transition from like fascist Franco to just kind of like authoritarian Franco,
and there's never had to been a moment to like realize that Franco was shit.
Yeah.
And Greece never had that moment either. They were just kind of like, okay, like the U.S. apologized, but then it was never like a moment of like accepting that this is a problem that then was promoted by the United States in anti-communism.
Spain does not reflect on Franco in any way the same way a German would on Hitler. Like,
because they just look at fucking like body count. They look at the sense of like the actual sense of how the regime functioned.
Yeah.
You know, because white Europeans fucking love body counts.
I mean, the famine killed 1 million people. That's my version of that. But yeah, like all this stuff that's happening in Southern European countries is then just like copy pasted into Latin America. Yeah.
But so how does that tie into today? Because Dimokratia from like the 1980s until now was always viewed as like the center right, good party that then was good for neoliberalism. And I think that then like now we're in that mask off scenario, because now like I was saying, follow the boy, I forgot his name, Yanis Baboulias,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you said last time, anyway.
Yeah. Because it was pulled up last time, so I can read
that's
it
fair.
this
That's
time.
fair.
But Neo-Democratia is also then established within Athens and Thessaloniki, like the National Guard kind of taking over the role of police in some areas, which is incredibly frightening for a country that was in a military dictatorship like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I know for a lot of people in that country, that's not a thing that they want to go back to, unless you're a member of Golden Dawn.
Yeah.
Or, in this case, Neo-Democratia, who then, to be fair, took the Golden Dawn vote by becoming more racist. And there's a lot of people within that community who were just like massive Trump stans.
Yeah.
And they were a stand for him because of racism and authoritarianism.
Yes.
So the only thing that I ask of our listeners is please, if I were religious or anything of that sense, keep Greece in your prayers. But in all seriousness, like whatever solidarity that you can then make or show to Greece and Exarchia. I really hope that there are projects in Berlin that then are doing stuff for that, because this is a massive a movement towards of a destruction of left spaces, a destruction of then protecting refugees, a destruction of anti-imperialism just strictly on itself, because there is a running current that at least I feel that then runs from the Greek Civil War to then how these left-wing movements still function today. And they do take pride in that. Although they may not be, Eam and Elas of back then, they at least recognize that there's this political undercurrent of these countries that is still very much intertwined within the movements of today, that then are very much like Neo-Democratia is the party of capital.
Yeah.
There's no other way of putting it. Syriza was a shit left-wing party. They failed immediately, but it's nothing remotely as horrible as what's going to happen in that country. Like, capital controls got moved, which means the capital can move in and out of the country as it freely wants to. And Greece still has a 25% unemployment rate and no healthcare system practically now because of austerity. Pensioners cannot afford food in that fucking country still. Yeah. So, the only thing I ask is that if you're listening to this episode, please. I don't even even if it's just a retweet or something. The
very least, unlike a lot of other media, just try and pay attention to what's fucking happening there, because it's not being covered by a lot of different people.
You got your boy here though for that.
Yeah, exactly. But I think a lot of this would be that you would have to explain what Exarchia is. It's often a very common thing you see in a lot of the big media houses and stuff like that, is that they'll not give priority to explaining something happening in another country, and then when it starts going to shit and it's actually important to pay attention to, and this is often left space stuff, they will not bother to introduce the topic and therefore won't bother to cover its downfall. I think a lot of people would feel that way about the fall of Afrin in Rojava. No media really ever successfully explained what Rojava was.
The Turkish media did, and they said it was bad.
Oh, yes, of course. But yeah, Exarchia is, I think, one of Europe's biggest kind of left-wing
It's the
potentialities.
only, all right, like in all seriousness, because everyone looks at that one community in Denmark that's like a pretend anarchist community, in my opinion.
Oh,
Christiania.
Christiania. Yeah. That's a tourist destination, basically.
Yeah. Exarchia, in my opinion, is like an actual, like that you had an actual movement that then was a militarist left-wing movement that pushed police out of this area, that then went from the ground up and then made this a safe area for people who were ignored by. I think everyone forgets how racist Greek politics and police are, but nonetheless, it's like it is a ground up movement that isn't done in the sense of like tourism or whatever. It isn't done to be like kitschy, whatever. I mean, that's a German word, but whatever.
Well, we were talking about this last week a little bit when we were talking about these left spaces and what these like what you can do with them. And in the moment where they become not only political in a vague sense, but political in a very material, real sense in terms of like providing solidarity or doing something, then that's dangerous, And it's not. And you can. And the Greek government isn't going after Exarchia just because
it's not just a cool place to hang out.
It's like they're cool and they're jealous.
It's
is an
because
active
it provides
site of
because
resistance.
Exactly like it provides a safe space for refugees, which Dimokratia had a massive platform against. So,
and not to, I don't know so much about Christiania, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but my impression of that is that, and I don't know if this is the full tendency, but there's absolutely a tendency in these kind of left spaces to just turn into a kind of like cool NIMBYism, right? Like they were protecting land in Copenhagen for like, to have like nice community to live in. And you're allowed to be more free and do stuff. But there's a way that can be contained.
But I think that also comes
by it can operate in conjunction with like whatever the broader state project. Like,
but I think this comes into the sense too, just like
the
historical breakup of like how these things were like made. I think Greece and Denmark are like much different, like just in the sense of historically where they are. Denmark can kind of do what they want, no matter what it is. And I feel that like Greece falls under a sense of that then they're always under the pressure of Europe. And I feel that then like lefties are the first to get the brunt end of that boot.
The weird thing that I find about all this is that the connection between Greece and Denmark is fucking Prince Charles, who was the co-monarch of before the monarchy was gotten rid of in Greece. And Denmark still has one, but he was the co-prince of like Denmark and Greece. The royal families of those two countries were linked. Weird ass shit. Also, Christiania in its modern day is very much. I think cool NIMBYism is maybe a little unfair way of putting it, but really also not that far off. It is mostly like a tourist destination at this point. The other space that I'm thinking of in Europe that I can't find the name of, it's in no way an urban space, but it's that part of France that like there was going to be an airport built on it, and then like that area got squashed. It's quite huge, and there's like a huge anarchist community there, and I want to say it's called like the Zone or something like that. I can't fucking find it for.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, I forget the name too, but I know what you're talking about.
I think that might be bigger than Exarchia, but Exarchia certainly is like.
But Exarchia is also in the middle of Athens.
Exactly, it's a big urban space.
Yeah, so if you go to if you get up at Omania and you walk 5 minutes, you're in Exarchia, and it's the thing that then I think is so interesting about it is that, like, actually experiencing what an anarchist space is like is not actually much different than from a normal space in Athens, except for that it's cooler. And I don't mean cooler in the sense that, like, oh, there's cool shops and this and that, but there is, like, a genuine sense like you can kind of do whatever you want. And I mean that also in the good and bad sense of it.
For anyone who's curious, the thing that we are thinking of is called the ZAD, Z-A-D. It stands for Zone à Défendre, like a zone of defense.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I know. Cool. But it's massive. I'm looking at a map.
It looks like a country.
It is it's almost a microstate, yeah.
Exarchia is not nearly that big.
No, but Exarchia does have the added coolness, clout, and also like difficulties of being an urban space.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of a city.
So, yeah, on that last final note, because I've spoke on this way too long, and this is a very near and dear topic to my heart, is protect Exarchia. I don't know how you would do that in the comfort of your home, but just simply raising awareness of this is a big deal.
Tweet at a Greek cop and call him Macedonian.
Yeah. Find your local Greek cop and call him a Macedonian, exactly. And not Macedonian in the sense of like the cool sense of Macedonia. Like, be like, oh, hey, I heard that you're from the former Yugoslavian Republic of Macedonia. And they'll be like, what?
And then you go, oh, sorry, real Macedonia.
Yeah. Yeah. So, really just kind of do what you can.
Yeah, and what's important, I just to really emphasize the point, like, Greece, it's not like you should care about Greece because it's Greece, but these are the same dynamics in play across Europe. I mean, you have the twin vectors of like austerity and racism, and then you have, at least in this case, like actually a unified left anti-racist coalition and like project against it that's being directly attacked. And that kind of dynamic, of course, Greece is under more pressure within the EU than other countries, but it's not like a categorical difference.
Yeah.
This
would happen in any sense.
Coming soon to a city near you.
Coming to a city near you, like
solidarity.
Solidarity. No, yeah, I hope solidarity, but austerity and racism.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the main political choices in a lot of European countries. Is like, do you want the racist austerity party or do you want just the austerity party?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's actually interesting that your history, or what's actually happened to Dimokratia, kind of leads us on to the next country we're going to talk about, which is
Hey baby,
long Greece, Italy. So it's interesting that Neo-Dimokratia has moved to the right, because I think a common trend you can observe across all these...
Can we just like hold up?
Yeah.
I want to take a moment and just realize that Neo-Dimokratia has a massive amount of like Alex Jones like kind of personalities in it who are like massive anti-Semites.
Of course.
And I think that you shared that video with me that was the guy selling toothpaste and anti-Semitic books.
Yes.
So that's what we're dealing with. Like,
I love that a lot of them are like these TV telemarketers, because there's a lot of like moving pictures. So even though they're speaking Greek, I understand what's happening as a non-Greek
half the time
speaker.
they're telling you to buy the book and then no, or yes.
I enjoy. You should watch me do like 3 minutes of just staring at a Twitter video and waiting for the correct number of images, and me then just dawning, oh, this is anti-Semitic. Oh shit. But yeah, it is interesting that there's like this. There's this observed trend across the like all these kind of like post-fascist or post-military junta countries in Southern Europe, where they moved sufficiently more to the right, and Greece kind of bucked the trend of the classically, quote unquote, center right, quote unquote, party filling that space, rather than what happened in Spain and Italy, where the classical center left party or center right party has collapsed in favor of a new, further right wing party. And I guess that leads us to what's happening in Italy, because Berlusconi's party is only getting fucking 8% of the vote nowadays. So, and he was always fucking dodgy as all hell. Like, all these parties, like the EPP, the PP with the Francoist in everything but name party of like Rajoy, did have to straddle this line of being, oh, we're a respectable right-wing party, but also you Franco stands, you're welcome too. And that was a similar thing Berlusconi was doing, but I guess it's not good enough for modern Italians anymore. He was doing that with Mussolini. And now we have Fratelli Italia and La Lega and Casa Pound, all these other fun faces. So, Rob, you've been looking into Italy. What are you?
Yeah, first things first, I just want to say shout out all the Italians finally canceling Berlusconi.
Yes.
We're making great progress. Well, I guess we should just sum up the political situation.
Yeah.
So what was it, a month ago when La Lega pulled out of the coalition? I don't even remember the ostensible reason. It was I think they were building, it was like some project for high-speed rail or something like that. But they were just waiting for the moment because they've been they basically flipped, where I think in the majority coalition, the Five Star Movement had something like double the seats of La Lega, and then for the past several months, La Lega's had about double. They're about twice as high in the polls as the Five Star Movement. And what's important in the very regionally split up Italian political scene, they're gaining more in the south, where they never had
La
a
Lega
foothold.
is, or
so I think
Five
that's
Star?
sort of a
Lega is.
La Lega, yeah, exactly.
I was
The
gonna
Five
say,
Star was
yeah,
always very
because
strong. In the
Lega
south.
would at least be Lega Nord.
It used to be Lega Nord. They
Yeah,
used
yeah.
to want to separate the country away from the swarthy, basically Arab southern Italians.
I mean, yeah. Because that's like that. I literally joked with Rob before the show started about polenta eaters, which is a slur that the people from the south use to the north.
Yeah.
So so the polenta eaters want to then court the people of the south.
Yeah.
Italians probably just use the N-word for them. Let's be honest. The N-word probably goes very far with who qualifies into that.
Northern Libyans.
Yes.
Yeah, finally the people in the south are looking at this polenta eater like Matteo Salvini and be like, he might talk like the apes from Princess Mononoke, but he has a vision for the future. They probably saw that video of him DJing,
Oh God, fuck!
grinning
I
like
was just about to say.
looking like the dancing hot dog from Snapchat, and just being like, wow, he's cool.
Polenta flying from his mouth.
Where is he from?
Yeah, Milan,
Yeah.
I think. I don't know what he
Milan.
represents now. He was at
Okay,
least.
yeah, so he is a fucking polenta eater then.
Yeah. Milan is terrible. I've been there. It's the only
mean-
place in Italy I've been.
with wearing a Gucci bib.
Gucci bib, voila, DJ at the fucking club.
Polenta everywhere.
Matteo Salvini.
I say to a boat full of refugees.
Oh.
Oh, it's dodgy.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. So
You want to do it, Kieran?
yeah, I can talk a little bit about like why the polls have changed so much from the fucking last election. The opinion polling has changed.
Polls are okay now.
The polls are fine.
Okay,
Well, no,
good.
they're not. But anyway, yeah. So they've been taking all these surveys, and it's drastically different from what it was when the election was held. Like basically, the results between the last general election in Italy and the European election have basically swapped. Five Star Movement basically got 30-something% in the last election, while Lega got 17%, and now those numbers have been flipped. And this is due to the fact that I think but Five Star Movement, I think, did have some like left-wing support. Like it's the only place that makes sense. Like the PD, the Democratic Party, which is like liberal center-left nonsense, but it was the only game in town, hemorrhaged a lot of people after they moved more and more to the center. And I think the only option they had to go to was Five Star Movement. But Five Star Movement as a party or as a structure was this incoherent mess. It did have a left wing. It did have a right wing. But
Are you trying to say that like Greece and Italy have very similar political backgrounds?
they have almost identical political backgrounds.
Do you want to know why that is?
No.
I
Go
do
on.
know why the reason is.
It's because
for
they
that.
both can unhinge their jaw.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's where the
yes.
Germans literally think that they're like that they're not poor. They're hiding all their money inside their mouth, like that big fat fish in that one SpongeBob episode.
Exactly.
keeps the
yes.
pickles on his tongue.
That is the reason. But except for that, it's not Germany. It's the U.S. And that actually comes after, in the sense of Italy, it's after Operation Gladio.
Operation Gladio
Ooh.
is when a CIA-backed Italian person unhinged his jaw and ate communism.
Exactly, yeah. And that happened to be a fascist, but whatever. Shh. No, but in the Marshall Plan, that was the thing that then the countries had to sign on to, is that they had a dumb parliamentary system that made no fucking sense. And for, I know for a fact for Greece, I don't know 100% for a fact for Italy, but I would assume that then it is probably similar. because they couldn't have a stable government, they had to sign on to a fact that you get the plus 50 dumb fucking seats.
Yeah.
You have this dumb government that makes no fucking sense. And you get this thing called democracy, baby. You guys may know of it. Hey, yo.
Hey, yo. It's when you get to vote in the Eurovision.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get to bring, whatever the last thing that these both countries got to bring to Eurovision was.
That, yeah. I was saying earlier that there is like this very similar way that like Berlusconi's party kind of operated the same way as like the PP in Spain, as did Dimokratia in Greece, where they kind of straddled this line between being the respectable centre right, but also had to like appeal to the like, hey, Franco / Mussolini / Metaxas was cool group of people. Whereas those two parties in Spain and Italy have kind of failed now. Dimokratia has managed to go mask off, as you said. But anyway, the other thing that happened with Five Star Movement has effectively failed because they did have a left-wing base that felt kind of much instantly betrayed when it became clear that they were going to get into bed in government with La Lega. That is very clearly reflected in the polls. Like that's when they started going down, when they announced the coalition. Then the other side of this as well is that they've been corrupt. It's a combination of corrupt, incompetent, and incoherent.
So they're Italian.
Yes. This is like every bad joke about an Italian party happened and was all in the one party. And
in the party, that one of their big things was anti-corruption, right? Like, not like the corrupt politicians were clowns and shit.
Hey, it's Big Time Tommy here speaking of a five-star movement against corruption.
Big Time Tommy is a La Lega supporter. DJ Vinny Dice is five-star movement.
Yeah, stick to canon, Nick.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I failed us. Milo, I am. If you're listening, I'm so sorry that I've stepped out of my okay zone for
he's going
Big
to
Time Tommy.
He's going to commit Greek American, which I'm assuming is just drinking Ozu in the sun and dying.
You just call it Ozu?
Ozu. The combination, yeah. So they did kind of initially pitch themselves as the anti-corrupt party. The whole thing about like being a five-star movement politician is when you got into the national parliament as well as like regional parliaments, was that you were meant to donate half of your monthly salary to a charity. I think they had like a selection of like 5 or 6 charities. And the thing is, you had to post like a photo on your social media network of like the transaction, the statement. So, but what eventually became...
I'm uncomfortable with this.
No, I know, right? But what eventually became revealed...
This is like half of the five-star movement platform.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like something you would make up. Like, yeah, you have to go in front of your constituents and let them whip you.
You have to floss dance
100 times.
For 4 hours.
Yeah.
After that, you're good.
But the thing that got revealed was it was a very common practice that immediately after the photo was taken, you would use your mobile banking to like cancel the money being sent. So it would never just go away, and they just kept 100%.
So you're saying so you're saying that Five Star Movement is made of just a bunch of TJX6s?
Okay, yes, but then incompetency comes in. TJX6 is very competent at what he does.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. So they wish.
Rob has to have a final say on this. I don't know as well.
How competent at his grift is TJX6?
Pretty good so far. We don't know if it'll work long term. It's very aggressive.
Rob's looking at this like in the sense of it's like fucking like looking at the NFL, just like, well, you see, like in the first down, they really have this going.
I'm imagining him like a 1920s stockbroker where he has like the ticker coming in. It's like, I'm looking at it here, it's still good.
Not at all.
Well, like another 1920s figure, like Al Capone. Might get him eventually, but he's going to live big.
Yeah.
What else can you do?
We stand TJX6 here.
I'm sure. Yeah. But then
you're allowed to have 3 possible roles in our society.
You can scam.
You can build.
I got nothing.
You can be you can build solidarity and be revolutionary. You can just be a scammer but be honest about it, or you can just drink the pickle juice and laugh at our jokes. You got one of the.
So then the incompetency comes in, which is they weren't very good at doing anything. Like internationally, I don't think anyone knows who the fuck Luigi Di Maio is. He was that.
He was a character from Mario, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's.
That's already some beta shit. You should name yourself.
Yeah, right. No one give a shit about the year of Luigi. Yeah, like no one knows who he is, even though he's the head of the senior coalition partner. Everyone was paying attention to Matteo Salvini because Matteo Salvini was doing the things he wanted to do, which were horrifying.
He was fucking.
Well, why did they have the other guy as the prime minister? Like that was part of the coalition
Conte.
agreement, right? Like back when it started.
Yeah. So that's.
I guess because Luigi prefers to just be the like behind the scenes guy, but then doesn't that like seed more of the fucking media circus?
Yeah,
to Salvini?
the whole structure of this gives. Conte is like just a technocrat, and he is picked as like this neutral decision on this coalition. But it does. You're right. It does. Doing that cedes more power to the heads of the parties that make up the coalition, which would have worked if one of them wasn't incredibly inept, and then that meant that Salvini got all the power, even though he was just the interior minister. Which, in fairness, if you're a fascist,
well,
party,
isn't also part of it?
That's the only
I know
minister you
that
want.
one of our favorite term, populism, gets bandied about a lot in Italy. And at least the Democratic Party, I forget the name of the new leader,
Clinton.
but under Renzi, it was
Hillary Rodham Clinton.
yeah, Zingaretti.
Hillary Zingaretti.
Hillary Zingaretti Clinton.
But Renzi, like his whole thing was we are going to be the anti-populist party. And for the 5-star movement, who I don't know if they call themselves populist or just everyone labels them the quote unquote left populist, but
I think it's the latter.
Doesn't seem like a very populist thing to just put a technocrat as in charge as soon as you like have a dominant like showing.
Yeah,
in the election.
So you're right. Everyone does. Like I said, everyone calls them a populist party. I think only insane people call them left populist because they're not.
Yeah. There's a lot of insane people out there, though.
Yeah, there is. Oh, we'll get to that. Don't worry.
Shout out to my boy, Beppe Grillo.
Beppe Grillo. Yeah. He's long gone from the party.
He was 5-star move, wasn't he?
He's the founder of it. Yeah. Co-founder.
That's like where you know that you're just bad as a European party, that you get founded by a fucking comedian.
And that's how you know you're bad as a comedian as well.
Both sides of that. Like, I would never want to see a German party founded by fucking Jan Bohermann. Because, like, in 3 years, it would just end up as the AfD anyway. Because it'd be like, oh, wow, guck mal, das ist Humor für die Deutschen. Oh.
Kieran prediction 2019. It's gonna fucking happen before we die.
Well, it's not. It would be like honestly like something. This isn't from Jan Bohermann necessarily, but like you often see like German liberals like lament the fact, like back when Obama was president, like wow, why can't we have like a funny politician like Obama?
Like that.
That's all we would want, and they would be so happy to have that than just anything with.
Yeah.
Like,
it would be that.
Again,
but
funny. I'm doing
racist.
air quotes.
It'll be like, why can't we have a funny racist Obama politician?
I love it. Let's get it popping.
So that
Jan Bohermann,
Rob, before he goes to bed every single night, watches the
2022.
Jan Bohermann clip of Monopoly, which is the racist version, the racist Turkish version, or the racist German version of a Turkish version of Monopoly, if it existed. And Rob just eats that up like it's fucking breakfast.
That does sound like the amount of levels required for a German joke.
Yeah, it is. It is,
Yeah.
exactly. By the way, happy Victory Day. As a Greek, speaking for Turkey, thank you. I'm glad that our countries are split. Hit me up on Twitter of which people you think are Turkish, and I'll tell you if they're Turkish or not. So far, everyone that you've sent me is in fact Turkish, including myself. 100%, baby.
And you, if you ask the question.
Yeah, if you ask the question, you're also Turkish.
Yeah.
So this is coming at you for Victory Day. It's August 30th, 2019. The Turkish Republic has existed for 80-something years. I don't care.
Yeah.
But we're all Turkish, baby.
Nice.
Rob, you're also Turkish, before you laugh.
I know.
Kieran, you're unfortunately not.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, sorry. Rob has it like 1/18th Syrian, which automatically makes him 100% Turkish.
He's like, look at the watch, which will be Turkish in now.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah. The other fun thing about the 5-Star Movement is that it was co-founded by Pepe Grillo, which we talked about, but also co-founded by like a tech grifter. Because like one of the big things of the 5-Star Movement was that we're going to like
Marcos Zuckerberg.
yes. Yeah, tech grifter, because the whole thing is we're going to do more direct democracy. We're going to be like all online. Like one of their original pitches was that like, do people even need to go to their jobs anymore? Yeah, I mean, yeah. So this is why 5-Star Movement fucking collapsed, and Lega ate that up and pretty much have been just like waiting until they were at the correct point of the polls, like you said, to then just suddenly stop working with the 5-Star Movement so that they could force an election to happen, which may have backfired on them now, which I find kind of funny.
Well, so I don't think all the news is out. At least I haven't seen it. But yeah, it kind of came out of left. It was increasingly likely in the days leading up to the announcement, and then basically the Conte will still be prime minister, and they'll just have the Democratic Party instead of La Lega, basically.
Yeah. And
so that would be interesting.
it is. It's really interesting also that like Conte is like really popular with the Italian people. Like his approval rating is really high, even though he's like a technocrat nobody. He has like no political allegiances, blah, blah, blah. He's purely a figurehead, but he's really popular. And yeah, I can't imagine this is going to do well for the 5-Star Movement as well, because they were also like sworn enemies of the PD, because the PD represented the establishment, which they were supposedly against.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then some people just talk about this will just give more more fuel to the fire for Salvini. I don't know. At least he's not, I guess he won't be the interior minister anymore. I don't know if this in particular gives him more fire more fuel rather than just everything that's happened in Italy in the past 5 years.
It doesn't. It certainly doesn't buck the trend.
It's good for now.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
good for now. It doesn't buck the trend though, and he is the big boy of the like Italian right. Like
Oh, he's a big boy.
He is a big boy. Speaking of other big boys, you have Berlusconi, whose party is just completely subservient to Lega Nord now, and similarly, Casa Pound and Fratelli Italia have always been like super big fans of La Lega. So they could, I think, like if a general election was called tomorrow, it would be Prime Minister Salvini, which is kind of terrifying.
That's horrifying.
Yeah,
I don't want that.
No
But then again, I did not want...
if there's this new coalition, it like, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
Kieran, Italy doesn't do the whole snap elections.
basically what Salvini was trying to do is he was trying to force an early election by making the government unworkable. He didn't think the PD and 5-Star Movement could make a coalition together that would be stable. And he might be right. They could fucking fall apart any day now, and there will be a general election. He has rules in play that if there is no stable government for X amount of time or after
if you
X amount of
don't
tries...
A baby before you fucking, you know...
If you don't A baby twice to your preferred baby, if you don't A at the baby that you want to be prime minister in the parliament, we have to have an election. We'll see what the people A.
If you don't go up to your fucking constituents and ask them, hey, do you go to the shore? And they say no, then you can call for a new election.
Yeah. I am just imagining Italian parliament, but instead of I, like the American Congress, it's A. And the A's have it.
I'm just imagining Italian Parliament, but it's just all Italian Americans, and they're way too tan.
I'm also now imagining the Italian Parliament, but it's just the Mushroom Kingdom.
I'm also imagining Greek Parliament the exact same way. So
Sick. Yeah, but I did want to share with you guys a wonderful hot take, courtesy of the only paper of choice, The Spectator. Yeah.
Ooh.
Go off, King.
I'm just excited to not be doing the reading
I know.
series. To kick back and get mad.
I actually, fun fact to our listeners, I don't know how to read.
I can only read Greek.
I can only read Greek, but then only when it's written in English. So I can only read sororities' letters.
It's a rare disease called college brain. Oh, God. All right. So this wonderful article from The Spectator is written by Nicholas Burgess Farrell, who is new to our canon.
I don't like him already.
That's good.
I share a name with him and I feel upset.
I know. He shares a name with a stage actor, which is why he has to have his middle name, like, everywhere he goes. There's a Nicholas Farrell who's...
Hi, I'm just looking up these guy. He kind of looks like Conte.
Yeah, he is...
You mean that he's a thought?
He's written a wonderful, wonderful article in The Spectator called "The Secret of Matteo Salvini's Success." This was written before the PD 5-Star Movement Coalition was announced, so keep that in mind. But before we go...
And the secret is the secret. You just have to visualize what you want to happen. In Salvini's case, just
I'm
like
visualizing
tens of thousands of people drowning in the Mediterranean.
Exactly.
And it'll
Thank
happen.
you. I'm visualizing Matteo Salvini and what's his first name? Kyriakos Mitsotakis.
Yeah.
Coming together, kissing, hugging, fucking.
Yeah.
Only so that hundreds of thousands of people can drown.
It's too real. That weird fever dream was actually too real.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't want my dream to be like positive for anyone. It's just like I have premonitions of Europe.
Yeah. And it's just weirdly sprinkled in with gay sex.
I mean, it's Italy and Greece, baby.
That's a good point. All right.
Now, who learned it from who is the question.
It's the Spider-Man meme with the two Spider-Mans pointing at each other.
Yo, y'all gay.
Okay. So, a little bit about Nicholas Burgess Farrell, because I just have to go into this guy. So, he's a British journalist, mainly for The Spectator and The Telegraph. He's married to an Italian woman, which makes him, in all these papers, the resident Italian whisperer.
That's how you learn about Italy.
Yeah,
the
this
only
sounds
way.
really familiar for our podcast. You have someone who's like kind of remotely connected to this thing.
Yeah.
And you just like, make them your at-home expert of Greece.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
His main claim to fame
Follow me on Twitter.
His main claim to fame is interviewing Berlusconi last time he was in government, where Berlusconi said in the interview that Saddam was worse than Mussolini and that Mussolini didn't kill anyone.
Facts. Look it up.
He's known for writing a book called Mussolini: A New Life, which is largely seen as...
If I were to rewrite Mussolini's life as him being Turkish.
It's a giant rehabilitative work of Mussolini as not that bad a guy. Nicholas Burgess Farrell also lives in Predapio, if anyone knows that, is the town that Mussolini was born in and was buried in.
Yeah. And they're trying to reopen that as like a tourist attraction.
Yeah, according to...
I just saw that.
Fun fact. Mussolini was actually shit. He was actually a very bad person. Anyone who tells you otherwise should just be shot in the head.
You'll like this guy then.
Yeah.
Nick, he's married to an Italian person, so I think he knows more than you.
That means that they should both be shot in the head.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get our fucking podcast canceled. I'm asking for a fatwa on Italians. That's like just not acceptable.
Fair enough.
Because they're like the okay Europeans. I can only ask for fatwas against Greeks or like Estonians or something like that. No, wait. Europe likes Estonians more than they do Greeks, don't they?
They do. I think we have Belarusians.
Not European Union. Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
Greeks and Belarusians. Fatwas against them.
All right. So here's some choice quotes from other works, including the Mussolini book of Nicholas Burgess Farrell.
I hate that we share the same name.
I know, right? MBF. Let's call him MBF. To know fascism in a complete way, we must therefore recognize a denied truth. Fascism, under the black shirt, was of the left.
Not true, because... Do I have to fucking just dissect this, or do I...
No, we all know he's an idiot. Don't worry.
No, this is the thing that then like everyone likes to assume because Mussolini was a really bad communist.
Yeah.
Like, I think that should be well known, is that Mussolini was a Marxist.
Hmm.
But when he read the works of people of his time who were racist, he was like, wait, this racial element we're not fucking taking in consideration.
Yeah.
And then he removed himself immediately from the left. So anyone who tells you that, whether it be that Mussolini was a leftist or that Nazism means National Socialism, they're full of shit. But this is what they normally go off of, is that then Mussolini was a lefty, which he was. His father was a Marxist. He was not, though.
No.
Yeah, just like Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Perfect example. Kamala Harris, fucking dumb. Her dad, pimp.
Isn't Buttigieg's dad also
Yes.
further to that?
Also.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris.
Buttigieg.
Just like Mussolini.
Buttigieg's fucking dad
I will not be expanding.
is like the head of the Gramsci Scholar Association in the United States.
That was it, yeah.
He's a fucking king.
Euro communist.
Yeah, I don't give a shit, Euro communist or not. Gramsci's a fucking pimp.
He is, yes.
And so is Pete Buttigieg's father.
Gramsci.
Yeah.
Another good quote from NBF here before we move on to the meat and potatoes is, personally, I'm not fascist. I'm English, and anarchic English.
No, you're fascist.
Nope, I need to complete this. And
Anarcho-English.
no, you'll like this even more, Rob. Anarchic English Thatcherino.
All right.
Well, I just want to say, for anyone who talks about Brexit like it's some new thing, like, oh, they're talking a bunch of nonsense. Just look at someone who describes themselves as a narco-England Thatcherino. That's Italian appropriation. That's racist. He can't.
No.
He can't go around calling himself a Thatcherino.
Hey, baby, I'm a Thatcherino. That sounds like a fucking DJ.
Nothing. And you wonder, it's like in the U.S. where people are like, oh, like Trump brought fake news, and then you look at like how the New York Times like manufactured consent for like for the weapons of mass destruction, and this is the same thing. Nothing has meant anything for a long time in UK politics.
So hang on, I want to have just a little bit get through this. This is a
wait, real quick. Bust down Thatcherino.
Bust down Thatcherino. I want to see you bust down.
All right, so I'm gonna get through this real quick. This is just this is a little bit. All right, this is a little bit from an article reviewing Mussolini: A New Life by NBF.
Wait, just to be clear, those are all quotes from the book Mussolini: A New Life, or just scattered throughout?
The first one was from
complete
Mussolini: A New Life. The second one was just an interview with him. The strange thing is that while Farrell clearly thinks he's saying terribly daring, original things, he's actually repeating what in the historiography is a very standard line. Renzo de Felici's monumental biography of Il Duce said it all years ago, and one constantly gets the impression that Farrell's book is a bit of a cut and paste job. One constantly gets the impression that the author is desperate to escape the biographical straitjacket to take pot shots at the politically correct. Quote, the left has had a cultural hegemony in Italy throughout the post-war period.
Not true.
Is a typical sentence left dangling without qualification, definition, or justification. So that gives you an idea of NBF's work here.
Okay.
I wonder if the fascist gangs in Operation Gladio were reading Nicholas Burgess for
Well, they probably were. They were like, "Oh, this is cool."
notes from the future.
Yeah. First off,
They're like, we have to do this to counter left cultural hegemony.
Yeah. What left-wing culture in Italy currently right now other than is voting politically? Because I don't know. I do not know of a single political party that is remotely connected to anything left-wing. And this means, hey, we're talking about, Italy and Greece, baby. Aside from Syriza, this is historically also really similar in that country.
Yeah.
Is that anything remotely further left-wing of PASOK
Yeah,
has not existed?
Italy is strange in that way because, like, Greece, Spain, and Portugal all got their, like, big left-wing political push. Like,
Did they?
I mean, they got a political party that people could rally around. Italy didn't even get that.
True.
Yeah. So the actual article...
Should we dive
There's
in?
more?
This is the actual article. This
Hell yeah.
The secret of Matteo Salvini's success. All right. So, some bullshit. He tries to set up the current situation in Italy. He calls the 5-star movement the alt-left, which, oof. But here we go.
I did bring it up. I do want to point out that in the first line he says Steve Bannon was cock-a-hoop.
He does say, yeah. Last summer, when Italy became the first major European country to get a populist government, Steve Bannon was cock-a-hoop.
That's the most offensive thing he said.
I know,
far.
right? I love showing off
What does it mean?
Incredibly English.
You have to establish that this sounds like English PUA tips. Like, first thing, always establish that you're English in the first thing you say.
All right, here we go. Salvini, known as Il Capitano,
Or in English, Tatiana.
has proved a man of action, able to stop NGO charity ships ferrying illegal immigrants across the Mediterranean from Libya by banning them and docking in Italian ports. This was his do-or-die electoral pledge, and he delivered. He has also turned out to be surprisingly popular with Italian business people.
No fucking shit.
With his pledges of Trumpian tax cuts and infrastructure spending.
You know who else does that? Is Dimokratia. Wonder where this, there's like a common thread running this episode or something. I don't know.
Quote,
as Germans say, rote Faden.
yes. Well, the red line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that movie from the 90s about World War II.
No. We don't talk about that in this country.
No, absolutely not.
Quote, the flat tax and big cuts in taxes for companies and families will have to be a fundamental part of the next budget. We hope that Europe will allow Italy to return to growth, he said recently. He's daring Brussels to stand in his way. Because, of course, this is The Spectator. We have to make everything about Brexit.
Well, he does love talking about Brussels, Salvini. So,
but for Italy.
That is probably NBF's big thing at the moment. Emmanuel Macron, the great white hope of the European elite,
sorry, I know that's true. It's just funny.
has frequently expressed outrage at Italy's populist government for its migrant crackdown. But this seems rich when France has suspended the Schengen Agreement on free movement within the EU at its frontier with Italy on the Riviera. The French police send back dozens of migrants every day. So who's the fascist? End of paragraph.
I actually like Macron.
Homie's not wrong, actually. Macron's a bitch. But that's not it, and then he's going to be like, let me guess, he's going to turn it around and be like, Italy should also be that way.
Fortunately, no. But Italy is taking that to the 11th degree. I want to point out that At this point, he refers to Brothers of Italy, Fratelli d'Italia, as a post-fascist party, whatever that is. He also refers to Matteo Renzi's, Zingaretti's PD as a post-communist democratic party.
Okay, you just put post in front of everything, much like in normal music trends, to be like, yeah, it seems a little. Gotta
I
freshen
literally
it up
just
a
joked
bit.
with
You know,
Kieran
maybe put
about
it.
this before this episode started.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just sitting here in my room making like post-grunge blackened death metal.
But like post-communist does, in a weird way, describe like social democrats.
Yeah.
We're just like, we have all the same like, you know, tools and aesthetics as regular communist parties, but we do something completely different with it.
Yeah, we suck.
Yeah. Okay. A government led only by him would break the EU's fiscal pact on deficit limits and create a major problem in the heart of Euroland. You know, the rules that like Germany and Italy and France have been consistently breaking for years. That in turn would receive Lega's flirtation with taking Italy out of the euro, a policy it reluctantly put on ice only after Marine Le Pen, who also advocated France leaving the euro, lost the 2017 presidential election with.
All right. Here we are in fucking 2019 talking about countries leaving the European Union.
Yeah.
Or the Eurozone.
Yes.
Not gonna happen.
No.
Like, if Greece didn't leave the fucking Eurozone, no country is leaving the Eurozone.
Yeah.
Why? Like, come on. I get a fucking job doing this fucking journalism bullshit that these fucking idiots do.
The thing that the MBF is so very carefully leaving out of this article, though, which I love, which is why Marine Le Pen has moved away from this policy position. And that was literally the business people we mentioned beforehand.
Because she's a thought. She's a pog.
Yeah.
The business people who
They're
like
just biding
support
their
these parties
time.
don't want their countries to leave the euro.
No, of course not.
No.
The Euro's the most
Right.
beneficial thing if you're a remotely industrial economy.
Yeah. What they want is their like, which La Liga does very well, is their like micro protectionism within the EU free market. Yeah. Down the centuries, Italy has so often been the crucible from which revolutionary ideas have emerged. Yeah. One particular political ideology definitely came from Italy, and
Yeah, really.
it was a hit in the early 20th century. But it's ludicrous to place Salvini on the far right. Ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous.
Luda.
Luda. To his fast-growing army of admirers, now he's going to describe not a far-right politician. To his fast-growing army of admirers, he is a Democrat and a patriot, or a nationalist, if you insist. But what is certain is that he absolutely detests socialists.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So new and interesting for Italy or a southern European country.
Well, I don't know why they have to keep doing this. Like, this reminds me of so many American commentators who are like, actually, it's Macron that's the fascist and Salvini that is the Democrat, you know, and patriot. It's just like, why? Why are you still doing this?
Salvini and Lega do not go around beating opponents up or smashing up their shop windows.
they assassinate them.
It is his
Democracy is when you assassinate socialists, and the more socialists you assassinate, the more democratic it is.
What year is this? 1968?
May, perhaps? Oh, God. It is his opponents who tend to use violence. What Italy suggests is that right-wing populism is proving more effective in government than the left-wing populism tried by Greece.
First of all, I'm not even going to talk about populism. Second of all, I wonder fucking why. They're like, yeah, they're just better at government when the whole fucking...
the thing I fucking love is that, like, when you just adopt yourself as a quote-unquote right-wing populist government, which does not exist. There is no such thing as right-wing populism because you're just the fucking, hand that rubs the dick of capital.
You just said 2 paragraphs before about how much the business community loves you.
Series have failed like on multiple levels because Syriza, one part I will say is because capital hates the left, but Syriza also failed internally. You can't even fucking make the comparison in that sense, because Syriza tried to then become the party of austerity and failed. So what then comes down, like what does it come down to then after that? It's just that then capital loves the right, and capital loves to have their fucking dick stroked by anyone who's remotely further further right wing than Social Democrats, and that is the product of history, and it has always repeated itself. It always will, and we can't expect anything different. And I'm going to leave us with that. So,
well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave you guys with the final paragraph here, which is NBF being a bit horny on Maine. So
I wasn't horny enough talking about dick stroking.
Oh
Oh no.
no. Matteo Salvini does have something in common with Benito Mussolini.
I love them both.
He's fat.
A gift for connecting with the crowd. He spends much of his time on Twitter and Facebook, where he has 3.5 million followers. When he tours Italy, he always leaves the stage to mingle with the crowd. This summer, he has been visiting the country's beaches, often bare-chested, which is what Mussolini did. The crowd loved Il Duce. The crowd loves Il Capitano.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm so mad. I mean, I saw that.
Y'all good?
Yeah, exactly. I
Like
saw
what?
the fucking video that Rob sent us. I busted, not
Yeah.
gonna lie,
Yeah.
of Matteo Salvini shirtless DJing. Didn't think much of it though.
Yeah.
But like, he just said a paragraph before. Like, how long is this? That's it. Like, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
it.
that was it.
So there's what, like, it
was-
sounded like 6 paragraphs being very like, actually, it's the lefts who are the fascists. And then the last paragraph, he can just be like, hell yeah, he's just like Mussolini.
Oh, yeah,
Really?
That's great.
Really?
I love NBF. It takes him like 3 paragraphs to go from actually he's not right wing. No, because I guess because this guy's career is being like actually Mussolini isn't right wing, therefore Salvini is just no. Mussolini's not right wing. Salvini's like Mussolini, therefore Salvini's not right wing. That's his basic. That's his thought. That's his insane thought.
Yeah.
It's also
I'm
worth
kinda
pointing
sad
out
now.
that the work of MBF on like Mussolini conveniently ends before conveniently does not talk about and basically ends before the invasion of Abyssinia and the 1938 introduce of like the race laws into Italy.
Damn, I wonder why.
Yeah, right.
Because then you have to admit that he's a fascist?
Probably would. Well, that was another episode of The Corner Späti. That was the episode. Make sure to check out New Dawn by Melty Brains. And with that, good night.